Well, hello. It's another short talk in the trailer park with the old guy. I think I'm going to just kind of leave the elevation alone. To me, it looks like there's too much curtain up there, but let's just get used to it, shall we? It's a Thursday afternoon. I've got this weird episode that started with me a couple of days ago, and so it's like all of a sudden my whole life went in a different direction. Now I'm on a different track as of 28 minutes ago. I had not foreseen any of this. If you'd asked me yesterday morning what's going on with my life, I would not have said I've been going into a doctor, an eye doctor, and to have an emergency kind of consultation with what's going on, blah, 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 blah. I don't really know what's going on. It's just weird to me. Starting, I want to say 5 days ago, 4 days ago, I began to notice at first I thought it's a little bit like this. If you want to see what I'm seeing, put your finger on your nose, over your right nostril, and then just look forward. Do you see your finger? You shouldn't see your finger. Well, just elevate your finger just a little bit like that. Now you can see your finger, right? Well, I have that, but it kind of comes and goes. And then if I'm in a well-lit area, well, this is not a great, purely beautiful well-lit area. Um, and then if I go down the hallway where it's really quite a bit darker, that thing shifts from a kind of a darkish blotch to it looks like a light, like when you have a flash bulb go off in your eyes. In fact, I don't even know if they're still using flash bulbs. That's kind of old school. But anyway, if you're old enough to remember flash bulbs, when they go, there's this spot that forms in your vision, and it just sort of hovers there, and you can't get shed of it. And all of a sudden, the spot begins to change color. It goes kind of from bright, kind of reddish, to kind of a darkish, kind of almost looks like a cloud of dark smoke, and then it just vanishes. Well, so the light and the dark, but mine's kind of reversed. I'm seeing ordinarily dark, and then here's another thing for you. This is going to probably make you mentally ill. I was just monkeying around. I don't even know what caused me to think about this, but here's this. Sit up straight, arc your back. My mother told me to sit up straight. Maybe I should have paid attention to my mother. Anyway, think about it as a breathing exercise. And as you're pushing down, I'm essentially pushing the dark out of my view, and it goes away. But it's only temporary. Right there. I just did that, and now it's back. So it's a very short term thing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm blowing it away. Watch this. Just hold it. And I imagine that I'm grabbing a hold of the dark and I'm simply pulling it down and in. When I do that, the dark fades. The finger gets skinnier. Then you're just looking. You always know that you're not paying attention when you don't notice that you see the profile of your nose anymore. You see it all the time. You just don't realize it. If you just close one eye and look, yeah, it's there. Yeah, it's there. But we don't ordinarily notice the nose at all. There's an old thing. It's as plain as the nose on your face. Well, the funny thing about that is the only nose that is plain on your face is when you're looking in a mirror or a camera, because ordinarily when you're looking out of your eyeballs, your nose just becomes part of the background information. But it's kind of like a way of kind of berating someone for not paying attention, to say you can't see the nose in front of your own face. And so I can see the nose, but I'm seeing a little bit too much nose on one side. A little bit of kind of WC fields erupting over here on one side, and big bulbous nose that shouldn't be there. But it's weird. I can make it rise and effectively disappear at will. But then it kind of bounces back. What is that? And I'm thinking, well, I might be on the edge of having a stroke here, You might want to go in for your major angina repair job here. I mean, I don't know. I'm in 64, and I just ignore doctors. I don't go to doctors, unless you really have to. And this is one of those ones where I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe a doctor could actually help me. I don't know. And I'm not going to go in for any kind of quack cures. But the guy that I've gone and signed up with, I think it was serendipitously, God was involved. I think God was involved. I found, I think, the best clinic in town. And not only that, it was today. The first, I can't remember the name of it. Vista. The first one that I called was Vista. A very nice lady. I explained what I said. I'd like to come in for an exam just to find out. I said, this might be just something, a passing thing. Give it a couple of days and it'll go away. I said, or it might be something that needs to be looked at. Do you have a doctor who could look at it at least and determine whether work needs to be done? Yeah. If you come back in mid-November, really. This is like June something, June the 1st or 2nd or something. Tooth, I like that. But at any rate, a good day to go to the dentist on the tooth. But anyway, the thing is that it kind of creeps me out. My dad was really afraid of going blind all of his life. It was an irrational fear that he bore with him all his life. And then in his latter years, he became glaucomic, and he was just convinced that he was going to go blind. I mean, my brother was taking care of him, and his wonderful wife. And my brother would say stuff like this to Dad: "Hey, Dad, you're not going to go blind." My sister would say, "Hey, Dad, you're not going to go blind." The doctor would say, "Carl, you're not going to go blind." So naturally, he presumed he was going to go blind. So I used to come and visit him. Cruces is about 3.5 hours drive, sort of, if you know, stay somewhat within the speed limits. And I mean, there's people out there doing 109 and stuff. It's crazy. But at any rate, I don't do that. But the point is that he was freaked out bad about his vision, and he never did really go blind. But he kept trying to describe it to me. But my brother-in-law, Roger, we were at, I believe it was one of our niece's high school graduation parties at their church. It was called Grace Church. That's right. And so anyway, there was these little, for a celebration, there was little spangle things like glitter but big, shiny stars. I don't know if there was moons or not. I don't remember what the shapes, but I'm pretty sure there was stars. I think there were 5 points. Anyway, like purple and all the kind of glittery colors, that kind of greenish purple, whatever those colors are. Anyway, Dad's walking across the floor. We're in a large room, and Roger's going like this: "Riddle me this." And I said, "Yeah, what's up?" He says, watch. And there's Dad walking across the room, picking out on the floor an object about maybe a 1/2 inch diameter. Now, it was shiny, and that might have helped him. He would pick it up and carry it away because he didn't like the mess on the floor. He was cleaning up. And I tell him, "Dad, you can just leave that stuff alone. They got a janitor that'll come in later on." "Oh, I just don't like the look of it." "Well, it's okay. Fine. Pick it up. I don't care." But the point is that Roger said, "Riddle me this. How is it that a blind man who says he can't make out what your face looks like at 2 feet can pick out a little 1/2 inch star from 9.5 feet?" I used to ask him the same questions over and over again. He basically had this rhyme going on about, "Oh, I'm going blind. It's terrible. I'm going blind." It's like, "Yeah, sure, Pops." I said, "Here's the deal. I got 3 questions for you." And he says, "Yeah, what?" I said, "Are you still taking your walks? Are you able to get around the neighborhood?" Because he loved walking every day. "And are you able to do your walks?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, and the curbs, stepping up and down the curbs, the depth perception is not an issue, and the slope of driveways, the edge of slope, the slope differing from the either the street or the sidewalk is not causing you stumbling issues, is it? No. Okay, so let's see here. You can see up and down steps. Can you tell me right now, Dad, what time you got? He had read a wristwatch. He'd go, it's about 4:15. This is from a blind guy, right? And I had one other diagnostic question, and I won't go into it right now, but it was the same kind of idea. And he never noticed all that time that he was not getting any worse. And so I don't want to be all panicky and stuff like that, but it's just creepy to me that it's like, why would something like this just spring up? I do remember one time I succeeded in lodging. I was working a mini grinder underneath the house. It was really gross, cutting into live iron sewers. Lovely, lovely. Well, I spun up my mini grinder with a diamond blade. I'm done with trying to break this out. Forget it. And I'm laying on my side. I can barely see the work, and I'm throwing sparks and everything. It's nuts. The grinder's trying to jump. Of course, I threw the guard away. What do you need a guard for? That's for girls. And it's spitting up this horrible junk. Well, anyway, this little bullet comes right into my eye. That was way back. That was like years ago. And the next morning when I woke up, it was almost like the old style. What do they call them? Shower curtains. That plastic vinyl junk, cheap stuff with rings. Well, you can see light through it, but you're not supposed to be able to see through it. You know what I mean? It's translucent, not transparent. Well, it was almost like that on one side. It was almost like looking through a shower curtain. It wasn't quite that bad, but it was, the focus was just horrible overnight. And I just thought, this should probably be something that needs to be attended to. Well, in that case, I had lodged a little micro bullet, and the guy was able to just fetch it right back out. That was so weird to me. I don't know how he did that. It was like, how small are those tweezers anyway? But anyway, maybe he used magnets. I don't know. But the point is that I'm gonna go buy it and to me might be something to do, you know. But gosh, I have been so blessed in my life as a, you know, a boy and then a man, and health wise. I mean, I never get sick. I don't take days off. I just don't get sick, and I don't go to doctors. Not unless, you know, I do remember I blew my shoulder up years ago. Boy, that was a mess. Ugh. Well, that one had to be put back together. That guy basically rebuilt the sucker. I don't know, super glue or something. He did a good job. But it's funny, months later, he finally tells me at the end, when I'm finally kind of done with him, he says, well, I wish all my patients were like you, healing up like that. But, you know, honestly, when you first worked in, I was sure it was just going to have to be a total shoulder replacement. And I said, and this is the first I've ever heard of this. Really? Why didn't you tell me? So at any rate, anyway, he's a good mechanic. And that's the thing. If the guy's a good mechanic, he's a good mechanic. Okay, I'll buy it. But all this stuff about what you need is more drugs. And what you need is more drugs to fix the side effects of the drugs. And then on top of that, throw in a little bit of drugs. Nah, that ain't going nowhere. And so anyway, you guys have a good day. And I hope you see well. See in new ways. Maybe you might think about it this way: to see others through the eyes of Jesus. How would he see them? And he wouldn't treat him as a weirdo. He wouldn't treat him as an enemy. He'd treat him as someone to pay attention to. So go find somebody to pay attention to today and say to that person, lady or man, you matter, and you matter. God bless. Have a good day.